As flickered flame makes shadows bend, and smoke meets moonlight, cold and blue, when blackest night hails twilight's end, then darkness comes to beckon you. As hunger turns the flesh to fire, and breathing falters, reason halts, then creep the claws of dark desire to rip and split you at your faults.
Our party has made their way across the inner sea, across Ustalav, and made it to the barony of Vesperholt in the county of Ardil in the nation of Ustalav. They have had an encounter with the great worm Gervelin, an omen dragon of ancient origins, who has given them a glimpse into a potential future that they may or may not see come to pass. The party made their way into the town of Pale Gleam, that is the main city in the barony of Vesperholt, and found lodging at the beautiful Journey Halt Inn, a large inn and tavern on the Glimmergrave River. They discussed how best to approach meeting the Baroness Radia Vadira in order to get her to approve them to go to Skytear Island, this mysterious, potentially cursed island that Emmerich knows has a vein of lazurite. The goal being to mine the island for the lazurite and make an artificial version which can incapacitate ghouls and zombies, who are the foot soldiers of the armies of the undead. Our party at this point has had the opportunity to clean the road off of them, thanks to Wick and thanks to Log, Thistle's familiar. They have had a very hearty meal of mushrooms and other foraged goods and gotten a well-deserved rest. Now, in the morning, I would love to know, briefly, tell us about what your character's morning routine is. We have some characters who are spellcasters, which means part of their morning routine is preparing their spellcasting ability for the day. We also have martial characters. So, Thistle, let's start with you and Log. Talk to me about what your daily communion with Log is like as you prepare for a day of adventuring.
So Log and I think we have this pretty established ritual. We go outside in the morning dew, right? We try to find somewhere nice, somewhere nice for him. It's kind of like when you take your dog out in the morning. Um, but Thistle comes out with him and we sit in whatever grass or whatever like slightly damp area we can find. Uh, and I look at him and we do our affirmations. I'm a savage. Ratchet, bougie, nasty.
Well, whatever you're doing, it's working for sure.
Yeah, whatever I'm doing, it's working. I think that really a lot of what she has learned from Log is self-love and self-confidence. Because he is just so unapologetically himself no matter where we are. Um, and I feed him scraps of jerky from my pouch and we just kind of get right with each other. And when we're ready, we go back inside.
Incredible. So heading back inside, the camera shifts up to our thaumaturge, Cynza Khan. Now, this day may be a little different than most days, but what is Cynza's morning routine?
I think normally if she isn't hungover from being somewhere and partaking in whatever the locale has to offer, she gets up surprisingly with surprising discipline early, and she goes for a run, I think, every day. Um, Part of her magic is based on, I think, her physicality being relatively on point. You know, I use magic in loose quotes. And on a normal day, she would go for this run, come back, eat like a reasonable breakfast, sit down, make sure all of her various esoterica are in order, repack like a reverse order of however she took these things off or undid, unpacked her pack. And that's kind of the ritual for her, is like touching every bit of charm and talisman and whatnot that she's picked up over the years in order to cobble together this unique form of magic that she can do. Um, The difference today is that she stopped 3 different times along her run to throw up because she's super nervous. Um, and then when she came back, she had a brave face and she did her normal routine again. Like, she did get a good night's rest thanks to Thistle and her, therapeutic beauty grease techniques. Very an ancient, unique magic all its own. But yeah, today she's taught the whole way she's running. If any, various town denizens pass her by, she's like muttering to herself the entire way. She looks like a crazy person out for a jog. Just like, "Oh, but what if? And then, and yeah,
Okay,
Understood.
well, let me get this straight. She's like 5'10", half fire, and vomiting on the side of the road.
6'2" actually, and yes,
Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool.
just real queen, absolute queen behavior. Let me tell you.
That's going in
Absolutely.
no context TTRPG quotes.
So, Wick, you see Cynza walking around, her cheeks looking particularly ashen this morning, as who knows what's been going on with her. But Wick, what is your morning routine like? As a rogue, you might not necessarily be a morning person, but what is that routine like for you?
I think being a halfling, Wick is a morning person because he's gonna try to fit in his breakfast before second breakfast. I think his morning routine is gonna be going down to the kitchen, and I'm assuming that there'd be a chef that's awake early and baking bread, and he's gonna go and chitty chat and talk ingredients, and I guess his magic is of a different variety because his magic that he performs is street magic. So he is always looking for somebody who will be, you know, who will receive like his little tricks that he's going to do. So he's going to go down, he's going to chitty chat with whoever's awake, get himself his first breakfast, and start performing card tricks.
That's lovely.
I
And
think since
something-
we joined the party, Log, after he parts ways with me, goes to find Wick for this first and second breakfast idea. He really is into second breakfast. I think that Log has started to like pair bond with Wick almost as much as with me.
It's sort of like how a dog just knows like who's always got food. So
Yes!
and it's the
Mhm.
same for Wick because he knows that if Log's gone somewhere, it's because of food. And so they're following each
They got
other.
one brain cell bouncing between the two of them, and it's always about food.
And Wick, something that you learned this first morning and going out and about a little bit yesterday too, a lot of the people who stay at the Journey Halt Inn are the family and friends of people who are currently being treated at the Misthaven Sanitarium. There is a ferry, there are multiple ferries that belong to the Journey Halt, and one of them specifically goes back and forth down the river to Misthaven, which has their own dock and their own loading and unloading area. So a little bit of levity this morning, and a little bit of surprise, and a little bit of magic that is in the control of a mortal, I would say, is quite appreciated by some of the guests who are dining here. And finally, we have Morrow, our cleric. So, to gain your spells, part of your morning routine is spending an hour of meditation and prayer to your goddess. Elves do sleep normally in this world of Pathfinder. They do not only meditate the way they do in 5e. So, Morrow, talk to me a little bit about what your morning routine is like.
No one sees her until it is almost time to leave. You don't really like that. She's doing her various magic things that she needs to do, but by the time you all see her again, she's full armor, full clothes. She looks exactly the same as she did yesterday, just a bit cleaner. She's got like her books ready to go. The one thing that she does seem to do is she seems to have done her makeup a little differently. Cynza, she's trying to make herself look slightly less important than you because she understands she's not as like the eyeliner isn't quite as sharp. She's not taken as much care because she does understand kind of what we're going into here.
And I think Cynza has conversely actually pulled out a set of like more noble refinery type clothes instead. like a slightly richer colored jacket that can go over her leather armor and things like that along, not giving up the practicality of adventurers wear, but covering it with the finery of a noble, of her house, etc. If she's going to be a representative, then she's going to look the part.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So stepping outside, it is a gray, drizzly mid-morning here in Vesperholt, which is fairly common. The mist is quite thick today. Are you going to be traveling by foot? Are you taking rented horses from the Journey Halt stable? Or would you like to rent a carriage?
What are my price point options?
Horse.
Horses would be 5 silver pieces. The carriage would be 1 gold piece for the day.
Horse.
Cynza, my vote is for the carriage. It really isn't that much when divided between the 4 of us. And it would lend the image that we are trying to project.
That was my thought as well. I have never, in my years of staying at the Moncrief Manor, seen a delegation show up on foot if they wanted to get a point across. So
What about on a
I'm
horse?
horses, sure, but would you like to? And I think Cynza casts a slow look over to Log. Would you like to deal with having more animals to wrangle, or would you like
Yes.
to just sit back and ride? That was a stupid question.
Animals are
We're taking-
simple.
we're taking the
Animals are
carriage.
so kind if you just give
We're-
them a chance. Look at
We're
them,
we're
look at their
taking
little
we're taking
faces.
we're taking
And
we're taking the
she's gonna
carriage.
go over to like the horse and like put like one hand on each side of the horse head and she's like, look at him. Look at him.
Hey,
And you
Thistle,
guys along, it's the horse that is attached to the carriage.
Yeah.
I think that's
100%. Like,
Cynza
oh,
definitely
this
just
is the sweetest face I've ever seen.
The ears just are flicking.
Yeah. A
like I'm
completely
assuming
disinterested horse. Like, doesn't want to fuck with me really. But she for her in love. Look at this. Look at this creature.
Cynza's like, Thistle, you realize that horses will be pulling the carriage. You just get to ride in the back,
Don't
right?
be on the horse.
You can also ride up front.
I can.
Yeah.
Take the horse
Yeah,
with me.
you could ride with the carriage driver if you wanted to. You're gonna get wet.
Excellent. I'm
I just
Thistle doesn't care.
uh I
That's what cloaks are for.
does
Just
Sure. I think Cynza has done her hair, to the best of her ability today, and is looking to make sure that she stays, the picture of the delegate she's supposed to be. So she just kind of shrugs, goes to whomever she is supposed to be paid for the carriage, and deposits a gold in their hand.
Perfect.
I'm
Yeah.
totally
And
still going at the horse.
they nod and open the door for you to walk in.
Much appreciated.
Okay. So you all can follow Cynza into the carriage. Thistle, you will not be able to ride on this horse. If you would like to rent your own horse, it will be 2 silver pieces. Otherwise, you can sit with the carriage driver in the rain, or you can sit in the back of the carriage with the other players.
I think that she watches Log, kind of like his little tiny pathetic arms, like out of her pocket, reaching for Wick, and I'm like, we horse next time, and I get in the carriage with my friends.
Great. So the carriage ride does take a couple hours. The road there is a lot of switches and turns around as it goes up this mountain. The manor sits at the top of a cliff in the middle of the forest. Even this high up, the sky is still overcast. As you near the top of a winding path, you encounter the manor gates. 15-foot high wrought black iron fencing with intricate filigree in the shape of thorny briars, a gold-plated lock in the shape of a shield, the briar motif filling the shield. So as you approach the manor, are there any last-minute conversations that you want to have? This is the area where, in Gervelin's vision, both Wick and Odessa noticed the almost superimposed shadowy figure on the scene.
I think Cynza has her notes out that she took. Basically 2 sets of lines of like exactly what the dragon said and then what we saw as we like as sub notes underneath each line. And I think this is the point that she looks at this and looks at Wick and then looks out, like very pointedly looks at Wick and then kind of nods and looks at the gate as if to say, like, is this it? Is this where you saw the thing we didn't see? Kind of gesture.
Absolutely. I will say this house is a lot bigger than I saw in the like, what was it called again? Like the what the dragon showed us?
Prophecy.
So
The
yes,
prophecy.
yeah.
It's these they definitely have a lot of money. Um
Well, you don't find a barony, well, a baroness. Yes, nobles. Yeah, they have a lot of money.
Cynza, do you
and
have any social conventions that you should be aware of that wouldn't be the normal for people outside of noble birth?
Other than staying away from like the topics of the supernatural, uh, as best as possible. Like, would I know what would be taboo, or if there's a particular greeting or something along those lines that would help gain favor?
Absolutely, yes. So, as Emmerich mentioned, he does not want any discussion of your true purpose. He is going to do the archaeology on the island. That is the purpose of him gaining the rights to the island and everything on it. In terms of social taboos, anything that you might think of as gauche to talk about, like, oh, wow, you got a lot of fancy stuff here, or, you sure look loaded, like all of those things, quite impolite to talk about. Something in Ustalavi culture, particularly among high society, is touching, is very much a no-go unless it is initiated by a person. So, because a lot of noble people, they, might kiss the hand or something like that. Ustalavi people do not do that unless the person who is going to be touched initiates it. So you would not assume that there are going to be any handshakes or a kiss of the ring, nothing like that.
I think Cynza looks at the whole group. That's a good point. Um, Wick, you made an excellent observation. Please don't bring it up. They talking about money is it's a little passe, I guess. Just don't call attention to it. Just this is normal. It's not, but this is normal. You get it? And
uh,
she turns and looks at Thistle and says, yeah, without hiding who she's really talking to here, looks at Thistle and says, "And please no touching unless you are invited to do so. So they're not going to want to shake hands unless they extend the hand first. There will be no kissing the rings, no patting on the shoulder, no hugs if that's the kind of way you're used to greeting people.
Just
Um,
like home.
yeah, it's a little bit stoic, let's say. And unless they initiate, just don't. Um, that's probably the best way to keep
I
from.
understand. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then in addition, it was already said by Emmerich, but we're not to talk about why we're really here. That probably also means we shouldn't mention seeing an omen dragon and the prophecy that involves just kind of gestures like at the the wrought iron gates that we saw in a vision like receding behind us and like all around, like probably shouldn't mention any of that. And
Most
almost
people
as
go
if to
through
punctuate
Twilight
that, she
Zone
snaps
about
shut her notes and tucks them deep into her like jacket or something like that, so that the prophecy notes are firmly away before we walk inside.
um,
And as you are wrapping up your speaking, the carriage is drawing to a halt just outside of these gates. And you can see through the carriage window a guard coming up talking to the driver and then walks up to you. State your business.
We have an audience with the Baroness Radia. She should be expecting us. And kind of gives a slight bow. My name is Cynza Dukhan, and I believe Emmerich Moncrief would have sent word ahead.
And the guard nods. We were told you may be coming. Once we open the gate, you may approach the front door. Wait here, he says to the driver. The guard leaves and begins walking towards the house, and the other guard, who is on the other side of the carriage, goes back to the gatehouse. Several minutes pass, then more. Finally, after about 30 minutes of waiting, the guard returns and unlocks the gate. He nods grimly as he opens the doors for you to enter.
Guys, was
Right.
that like a weird amount of time to anybody else?
They knew we were coming.
But if we happen to catch Lady Radia in a state of, um, unpreparedness, she might have wanted time to prepare before we came in. It's not unlike nobles to. They love to have things happen on their own time.
I
GM,
think it's important to.
At this point, it's a little afternoon.
okay.
I think it's important to recall that Radia has just lost her father, so maybe this is still a period of mourning, and we should maybe give her some time and some kind of grace.
Maybe worth still keeping our eyes open, but it's not necessarily indicative of anything, even if quite odd.
The grounds of the manor are well tended with tightly trimmed hedges and a stunning marble fountain in black and white, depicting a short-haired woman in full plate armor driving a sword into the chest of a crowned skeletal creature, grotesque tongue wrapping around the blade up to the hilt.
Well,
And if
that's
you'd like
a little
to... Yes.
morbid.
Pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure Cynza would know off the bat who that's supposed to represent.
Absolutely. I want to give everybody a chance to potentially identify. You may roll religion or undead lore.
Is it? Do I still need to roll, or do I know who that is? I should say.
You can roll your esoterical lore for this one, for
Okay,
sure.
cool.
You said religion?
Mhm.
16 plus
28.
18 is 34, right?
Okay, 34 for Morrow.
28
third-
for this.
Great.
30 for
14.
Cynza.
Oh,
14. 14 religion
14.
for for Wick.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So while Wick, you do not know what this statue is depicting, you can just appreciate it for its artistry and its beauty. The rest of you recognize that this is a depiction of the fifth act of Iomade, the mortal woman who became a goddess by taking the test of the Starstone. She rose to prominence as one of the Knights of Ozum, a devout follower of Eridan, and she was one of the major players in the overthrow of the Whispering Tyrant Tarbafon in Ustalav. So, in fact, this is a depiction of when she smote Erumhel, who was one of the major generals in the Whispering Tyrant's army. And as your carriage drives by, you can see that there's water flowing from the knight's eyes and spouting from the wound in the undead creature's chest.
I think Cynza sneers at the sight of the creature, just kind of knowing who he was meant to represent, just kind of like distaste.
The manor itself is large and dark against the midday sky, with ivy vines covering much of the front, topped by several onion-domed towers. Each side of the manor seems to have newer additions built onto it, reflecting its age. Several servants wait to greet you, 2 stable hands to take the carriage, 2 footmen, and a butler standing at the top of the entrance steps. And you will be assisted out of the carriage by the footman.
I think Morrow does hesitate to take his hand, though she does, after a minute hesitation, does, oh yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And you walk up to the base of the stairs where the butler is there waiting. Good afternoon. How may I help you?
Kind of tugs on the sides of her jacket as if to steel herself. My apologies. Greetings. We have a meeting with the Baroness. She should be expecting us.
You wish to see the mistress. Very
Yeah.
well. I am Zaidu, the butler of Vidira Manor. Please, come inside. I will see if she is available.
Much appreciated.
The butler shows you inside the manor. The foyer is of an average size, with a chandelier of clear and yellow crystal casting refracted light around the room. There is a wide staircase along the side wall leading up to a gallery with exits on either side. All the doors you can see are closed, one to your left and two to your right. A fireplace is built underneath the staircase, and you can see that fresh fire has been lit. The floor is made up of intricately laid parquet. A display table in the center of the room holds a bronze statue of two crows fighting, wings and talons outstretched. The dark walls are covered with various pictures. There is a wooden bench along one wall, but no other objects of comfort in the area. Zaidu the butler disappears down the hall and around the corner, and you hear the slam of double doors shutting somewhere out of sight.
Is it? Is it
It's going well.
out of character? Is it just me, or am I getting major ookie spooky vibes?
Boogity
This is
spookity.
this is Ustalav, baby. It's all ooky spooky.
I
Yeah,
think
this is
yeah.
basically pretty par for the course for Ustalav. Yeah, like this is all like this is the that's
Yeah.
their vibe.
This house is very old,
Mhm, mhm.
so there's definitely that vibe to it. But yes, you have been left alone in this foyer area and left to wait for the mistress, not
Yeah.
knowing whether or not she will appear.
What are we going to do if she actually isn't going to receive us today?
Come back
Uh,
tomorrow.
Try again, probably. And then just Cynza just trails off. She's like staring at something now.
Um, would I be able to? I don't remember what the Pathfinder version of investigation is, but could I do Pathfinder investigation to like try to take in my surroundings and be like, what the fuck
Yeah,
is on here? Because I don't think
absolutely.
I've been to Ustaloff before.
That would be perception.
Perfect.
So I will potentially, unless you really want to, stop you short of opening drawers. But yeah,
She's
you
just
may wander the open area.
whatever's visual. She's not trying to touch anything because if we're not supposed to talk about money, I'm pretty sure touching shit is off the table too.
Yeah, go
This
ahead.
is
Give
why
me
I talked about money outside. It had to be said.
Very smart. Very demure.
So what do you got for me?
30?
Wonderful. So something that you will notice walking around this room, Morrow, is all of the doors are closed and they are not locked, but they also don't wobble or wiggle, nothing.
Very well maintained.
So also you imagine if you push on one, it would not open.
So
You may try a door if you'd like to.
do I have one that is there a door where she's pretty sure that she can't really get in trouble for doing this?
Yes, probably one of the closest doors to the entrance. You can imagine that those lead into receiving rooms, foyers, areas that are meant for company.
She's mostly just trying to again, she has control issues. So she wants to know what her surroundings are like
Mhm.
before she is potentially in a situation where she really needs to know what her surroundings are like. So any doors that she thinks she can open without getting in trouble or blowing a cover or anything like that, she's going to kind of lightly push on and see what gives and things like that.
Nothing gives.
By that, do you mean when you turn the handle and push, it does not move?
The handle does not turn.
So they're not locked, but they are kind of locked.
Correct.
Is the front door now locked?
Yep.
Great.
So we're locked in?
Wonderful. Cool, cool,
After
cool.
about 10 minutes, as you are realizing this and becoming a little bit more uneasy, you hear a pop from the fireplace, and a ember throws itself out of this log that was burning, not our sweet log, a fireplace log. The ember has popped out and skids across the stone at the front of the hearth.
Cynza, is that
I'm not sure. I would love to take a closer look at that. Just
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
an interesting thing.
So as you approach, it is common. I mean, generally firewood is stored in a way so that it stays dry, but particularly in areas that are very damp, water does make its way into the wood. The easiest explanation would be that the pressure of steam has popped part of this log off of the fire burning.
Could I use Observant Halfling? My finely honed senses quickly clue you into danger or trickery. I gain a +1 circumstance bonus to my perception DC, though not to your perception checks.
Absolutely. Go ahead and your perception DC. Okay. So currently nobody is trying to fool you. So let that assure you however you like.
Should I just
I
do
would-
like a perception check then, or?
Yes, but you wouldn't get any bonus to that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, that sucked. Okay. Well, I got 17.
offer like a kind of help action given that she's already been kind of looking around?
Yeah, you can. So remember, when we do the help action, we will roll a relevant skill that we believe would assist our partner in this event. If we're doing this in combat or in a round, helping takes one action, and then as a reaction, you deploy the help. So we're just in, we're in not encounter mode, exploration mode right now. We're in exploration mode right now, which means that we don't have to worry about actions. So yes, what relevant skill would you like to use to help Wick in this moment?
The two that I feel would be relevant would be either perception or survival. Am I allowed to use perception? Is that one's higher?
Yeah, we can use that one.
And once that's rolled, I do have a question.
Sure.
That is going to be a. This should not be hard math to do. 15 plus 10 is 25 plus 1 is 26.
Great. Okay, so go ahead, Wick, and roll your perception and then add 2.
Roll my and so I add my perception up here and then add 2? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so then now I'm looking at a 31.
Lovely. Okay, so with a 31, you are coming to the same conclusion. You can corroborate. Locks and lock picking are one of your main specialties and areas of interest. So you can absolutely put an eye to some of these doors and confirm for the party that no, there's no locking mechanisms exist in these doors, but they absolutely have not been applied. When it comes to the fire, you do not see anything out of the ordinary. When your attention first drew to it, you could see that the smoke from the fire was a little bit frazzled from this thing flying up, but everything has settled again and seems quite normal.
The ember is fizzling out as normal, or it's still hanging out and burning?
Fizzling out as normal.
Could you try that one more time, Nikki? For some reason, all I got was like a garbled input, and I could not understand a single thing you just said.
Oh, I was asking if the ember had fizzled out or if it was still burning, and the answer was fizzled out, which
Okay.
answers the question that I was going to ask if using recognize spell would help me here, but if it's pretty mundane, then that works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is nothing for you all to do but wait. And after about another 20 minutes of waiting, a young woman appears at the top of the stairs and begins to descend. She is short and dressed in morning black. While fancy and intricate, her clothes are modest, with frilled black lace up to her throat, a dark gem necklace clasped around it, and black lace gloves. She wears large round glasses balanced on her upturned nose, and her long black brown hair is swept up and away from her face, but not styled in any way you would imagine for nobility. From a distance, her eyes appear a reflective gray, like silver coins instead of iris and pupil. She stops walking a few steps from the bottom to address you. And Cynza, you see that actually she has what you assume are dark eyes covered with a milky film, which is a physical indicator of a daemonic bloodline. I, I apologize for the delay. I was rather caught up in my reading.
Uh, Understandable. Gives again a bow. Um, uh, I apologize. Do you prefer Lady or Baroness Radia?
Oh, I. Well, Baroness Vesperholt is my title now, but I have been Lady Radia Vidira for a long time. Lady Radia will suit me fine.
That's why I wanted to ask your preference. First and foremost, let us all state our sincerest condolences on the loss of your father. And if I exhibit any familiarity, please forgive. We've met before.
Oh, yes.
Cynza Dukhan. And again, another bow. And you came, I'm not sure if you remember, but you came to the Moncrief estate when we were children, and we spent some time together.
Oh, yes. Count Moncrief was very kind to write me, often reminding me of that. And you all, thank you so much for coming to see me. I am Lady Radia Vidira, the Baroness Vesperholt. And you are?
Cynza little gestures.
My name is Nora Venturi, my lady. I am a cleric of Shaika. If you would like my true condolences on the loss of your father, if you would like, I would love to say a prayer or some words for him during my next prayer.
You are too kind, Miss Morrow. I admit you will find few congregants in Ustalav. The prevalence of void energy channeled across time have made the lands quite hostile to Fae. The few who inhabit its wilds are either very stubborn or uniquely malicious. Though our community of Flowerfield is a haven for many sprites and dormavoy, or so it is reported. But I thank you.
Of course.
And you?
Who's next? Is it me?
Whoever you'd like.
I am Wick Bloomberry. I am an adventurer and employed by Emmerich and Adrena and an emissary of theirs. Please know that our house grieves with yours.
Kind words. Thank you, Mr. Bloomberry. An adventurer and an emissary. You wear many hats, I see. And you.
Oh,
Or should I say you too?
and I am Thistle Halgraven of Lord and Lady Halgraven's house. I am truly honored. I remember when we lost the first Lord Halgraven. I can only imagine how you are feeling during this time.
You are very kind to inquire. We get many visitors to Vesperholt, but most of them come for the sport or, unfortunately, for our hospital. It is very nice to be remembered. Count Moncrief did write to us about your arrival. Zedu, perhaps our guests would feel more comfortable in the garden than in the sitting room. Would that be all right?
Of course.
Well then, if you'll follow me. And Radia steps down into the foyer towards the double doors at the end of the hallway, which open for her as she approaches turning the handles.
Mhm.
She leads you further into the house, opening another set of double doors into a portrait gallery with tufted benches down the middle for sitting. And she begins walking through. I trust you've had a comfortable journey, but with the hospital being such a haven for the sick and the weak, we do our best to keep the lands here safe and traversable.
It's quite the undertaking, but well done, of course.
We have much help.
Really, it's one of the most, it's the people here are kind, respectable.
Well, you are not catching us at our best. This is a period of mourning, but we can make quite merry from time to time. You would enjoy our Farast festival, I believe. Bishop Lorimore is a renowned organizer. He always begins his planning 9 months in advance at least.
Well, to be able to undertake such a grand festival, I suppose planning is the key. It's of the essence. That's going to be taking place in about a month, I believe I heard.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Just
I don't know that we'll still be around by then, but if we are, I think we all kind of agreed that we would be interested to see how the festival goes.
Wonderful. And she stops in front of a painting. Now, something to note as you look upon Talespire currently, the tableaus that you see within the wall, please imagine that those are flat portraits, but we are utilizing Talespire to its fullest effect.
Thank you,
So,
Cameraman Groucho.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Woo!
Cameraman. So
Very cool.
she pauses in front of a large portrait depicting a middle-aged man with a heavy brow in modest noble dress, black cropped hair graying at the temples, posed in a sumptuous room with various maps strewn over a table, his hand resting lightly on one of them.
my father, Baron Brindar Vidira.
He looks just as I remember him.
You flatter, of course. He was much younger when he posed for this picture, but he would appreciate the sentiment, Cynza.
Wondered how they would get on, the Rindar that I knew and this man, should they ever meet. Flight of fancy, of course.
Could I do a perception check just to see if this is the figure from our omen?
Absolutely. At this point, I'd like everybody to give us a perception check, please. But yes, yours can be specifically to study this figure.
I'm gonna switch dice because I keep getting like 14 to 15 and it's feeling weird to me.
I have a 25.
25. So, Wick, you are sizing up the portrait of this figure, and while there is something about the shoulder, the structure of the shoulder that feels similar, you're not really able to glean more than that.
27. Or I'm sorry, 28. That's 3 plus 5 is 8. 28.
Okay. So 28 for Morrow. What do we get for the Thistle and for Cynza?
22 for Thistle.
Perfect.
Your girl is too focused on keeping her shit together. That's a 14, baby.
Fantastic. So Morrow, you are the first to notice a portrait of a woman who looks very similar to Radia, but with much more daring and ostentatious clothing. Red satin fabric trimmed with ermine. It is painted in such a way that makes them feel touchable and alive. The woman rests her hand on the neck of a small boy with intense green eyes, dark curly hair, and a black suit.
She's not going to ask about too much because I think she's in her own head a little bit. Okay, so we're not supposed to talk about money. We're not supposed to talk about the supernatural. Family. Can we talk about family? Can we ask about family? If they're dead, does it change that? What if she's not dead? But I think in being in her head like this, she is just kind of staring not subtly at all at this picture.
Mhm.
When if Thistle notices this,
You will notice, so Morrow was the first, but yes, each of you subsequently will notice Morrow fixated by this painting and then get the same assessment from looking at it.
uh, Lady Radia, this
Hmm?
portrait actually reminds me of my late sister-in-law, who's depicted.
Oh, yes. Now, this is a painting I have studied. My great-great-grandmother, Ayana Vidira, and her first son. My father told me that every few generations our family has such a twin across time. Perhaps it was only a story, but who knows? Blood is an inscrutable artist. Wouldn't you say, Miss Thistle?
my siblings and I are a hodgepodge of races, but the way that humans particularly reflect each other, the way that history rhymes with you, it's always been so beautiful to me to observe.
Poetically said.
Do you feel kinship to her?
I do. I could only hope to be so glamorous. And the child, Davrowan, she had him young, not much older than I am now. And her second, Audar Dvidira, who would succeed her as the next Baron, she had after she turned 50.
Point of
Quite impressive.
clarification. They're human, or are they?
They are human.
I think more thinking out loud than anything else. That's quite late for a human, isn't it?
Yeah, Thistle, I think, also reacted very strongly to that. Like,
Huh.
whoa!
It was a difficult pregnancy, from what I was told, but it was necessary.
I apologize, Lady Radia. I did not mean to cry. It just caught me by surprise. A
You
lot
come
of
from
my
very brave
history,
and strong stock, then.
a lot of my
What was
experience,
that, Thistle?
I said you come from very brave and strong stock.
Got it. Okay, Morrow, continue.
a lot of my history is in battlefield medicine, and I have had to deliver several human children. Um, Men are not the only victims of war, unfortunately. But I don't
Indeed.
think I ever met a human woman older than 35. It did catch me off guard.
Dr. Derrick at Misthaven and his staff have, through time, been incredibly skilled and attendant. She suffered no pain.
I think
Shall
more
we?
to make specific note of the way Radia is answering these, because I'm keying in on suffered no pain and it was necessary.
Mhm.
Understood.
What do I know about having like Daemon blood or Daemon ancestry? Like, what does that do? Is that like lengthen a lifespan? Does that, or is that just inherent magical ability?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you continue walking through the portrait gallery and onto the back patio area, you are thinking about it. So daemonic ancestry is one of the many Nephilim bloodlines. Depending on Nephilim blood comes from the ethereal plane. So essentially wherever a soul ends up. So the daemonic bloodline comes particularly from Abaddon. That is the plane where the four horsemen of the apocalypse ride. It is the land of the Divs, and it is the land of the Pallid Princess, Urgathoa. Back when we utilized alignment, Abaddon was the neutral evil plane. So if you are judged by Pharasma and you are sent there, you generally start life as grub. And if you can amass enough power and stay alive long enough, you will eventually grow into a stronger and more capable form. And they are known as daemon.
Okay.
Point
And
of clarification, daemon, not demon. These are two different.
Correct. Yes, the demons come from the outer rift, which would correlate with chaotic evil. And then devils come from the 9 layers of hell, which would correlate with lawful evil.
So this is a third thing altogether. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Exactly. So
and
Nephilim it doesn't necessarily extend your bloodline, or it doesn't necessarily extend your life having a Nephilim bloodline. But yeah, it's just a versatile heritage that a human can be born with. And you don't necessarily have to be half to have it, kind of like you do being a half elf or a half orc. Either both your parents are, or one of your parents is one of your parents is the other. Ancestries like this, like your Fridi ancestry, or your
skips
heritage,
generations
very similar.
sometimes.
Absolutely, it can just manifest.
Okay. But safe to say it certainly doesn't hinder any magical abilities that she might have. Like,
Correct.
okay, like it's potentially all right. The scenes is turning this over in her head because she's like, oh, maybe this is the answer to why she was so. And I didn't know this about her, so that's very interesting.
Points.
Also considering in her head, well, now why didn't Emmerich mention this? Just something that kind of triggers in her brain.
Point of
Absolutely.
clarification just to make sure that I've got this right. The bloodline doesn't need to be mom or dad, it's just in there somewhere.
Correct.
Cool.
It's like, yeah, Cynza's parents are not, neither one of them were Ifriti. Like, it's somewhere back there.
It happened at some point.
At some point.
And that's
So
what
the
matters.
double doors at the end of the hall open up to a marble deck with steps leading down into a shadowed garden area, a few lamps lit to cast more light. You see footmen placing a table setting for tea with porcelain, decorated with purple flowers, and several trays of tea time snacks. And it is about midday, so you probably do have a little bit of an appetite at this point. One of the footmen helps Radia into a chair, and then they depart. Please enjoy.
I think immediately Morrow is going to wait for everyone else to take their seat because again, Morrow's very convinced with doing things correct, with doing it right and doing it right the first time. And she's like, oh my God, I do not, I keep people alive on the battlefield. I do not bump elbows with nobility. Is there like rules to where we're sitting?
Uh, I think is this any kind of obvious on Morrow's face?
To
To Cynza, at least.
Cynza probably because it's that same stoic look, but the lips are tight, the eyes are a little
Eyes
wider.
are like
You can
darting back
see
and
her
forth.
kind of looking around, like you can see the gears turning in her head, but possibly to Radia, it would look like she's just trying to wait and be polite.
Cynza will go and pull a chair out for Morrow under the guise of looking like she's just, moving a chair for her friend, and then will sit next to that one herself.
I think Thistle puts Log in the chair and then stands behind the chair.
Please tell me Log and Wick are next to each other. That would make me so
Of
happy.
course. Obviously.
I
So
think Wick
charming.
has worked with nobles for quite a while, so he knows the etiquette, and so he's not worried. He's right into tea time.
Oh yeah.
Lovely.
Thistle knows
Yeah,
that
go
everything's
ahead and tuck in.
chill.
And once you've all made yourselves comfortable, have served yourselves out some tea and some of the finger sandwiches, tea cakes, all of this lovely, fair, very fancy food. Now, what is it that you need of me?
Deep breath. Well, uh, Count Moncrief sent us to discuss the possibility of you, um, to see if you'd be amenable to allowing him to have an archaeological expedition on in your lands. Specifically, are we point of order? Are we allowed to say Skytear Island?
You are, yes. And one thing that I forgot to mention is that Count Moncrief had offered previously gold, just straight
Mhm.
up. He had also offered the Baron first choice of artifacts. Both of
Mhm.
those were denied. And there were no further negotiations after that because the Baron and Radia left so quickly. What the Count has authorized you to offer this time is a favor.
Ah, okay.
So remember, that is what he is offering at this point.
And a favor from someone like Emmerich could be very valuable.
Potentially, yes. So, but yes, you are specifically Skytear Island is what we're talking about.
Just want to make sure the
Yeah.
person doesn't unwittingly say something I'm not supposed to.
I'm
And
with
we
you.
would have debriefed all of this in the carriage, like on the
Oh, for
ride
sure.
up.
100%.
So everybody should be on the same page. Cynza says, well, we were hoping to broach the subject of a potential archaeological expedition. Count Moncrief would really appreciate discussing what we might be able to, what might need to be done in order for him to be able to take a look at Skytear Island. As far as the archaeological importance goes, he's quite serious about it.
Yes. Myself, I don't know much about it. It's a small island, upriver, at least a day's travel. No one docks or camps there. They say it is a cursed place. I believe that was the land Count Montcrief asked my father for excavation rights 2 years ago. The Count was unclear in his writings to me. I don't know exactly what my father was offered, but I do know that he declined firmly.
Yes, I seem to remember that being the case as well. After in the years that passed, spoke of it kind of. And she gives a very dismissive hand wave as if to reinforce the position that she's like, yeah, I don't really know. Like IDK, lol. I'm just here now. Um, but he does seem extremely interested and thought it would be best that we discuss with you. I believe. Would do I get the sense that that Lady Radia would, given what she's already said, like know what was offered the previous two times, that it was, or the previous when they had the discussion, that it was gold and the first pick of artifacts, like that's what her dad said no to.
So she had just told you that she didn't know what the offer was.
Oh,
If
I'm
you
so
would
sorry.
like
You
to
did just say
determine
that.
whether or not that was a lie, you would do a sense motive check.
Yeah, I think I will sense motive if that's all right. Just because I'm also trying to say, LOL, I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
And sense motive is that's just perception, correct?
That is perception, yes.
Wonderful. Oh, that's quite good. That's for me 26. Yeah.
So with a 26, you can tell that she is holding back how much she actually knows. This is her starting position in a negotiation.
Sure. Um, yes, I'm not entirely sure what they talked about because, as I recall, we were preoccupied. She kind of gives a little, but he has some interest in Skytear Island that seems very important. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the Count's exploits. He's been well known for looking into places that other people determine as cursed or forsaken, and he's found some incredible things there.
I'm sure that he has, Cynza, but you must forgive me when I say that the island is cursed. There are terrible lightning storms. I see them from my window. Echoes of the past, perhaps. Tradition says it was an old Kellid ritual site, and we have so few left in this country. My father preferred to let it be.
Hmm. Noting that that was conveniently not mentioned in anything that Emmerich said, that it might have been some sort of historical ritual site or something that the people would have wanted to keep pristine. Cynza kind of bites the inside of her cheek. Of course.
I think Thistle's eyes slowly go over to Morrow. Like,
Morrow is
damn, bitch, you called that so fast. It did sound too simple.
uh,
like Morrow's trying
she
not to be a condescending bitch, but she is kind of naturally just a condescending bitch.
I can just kind of imagine, like, Morrow kind of like, and, like, trying to,
just
like, not, like, out loud kiss her teeth, but, oh, she feels it.
just slightly noisily sipping her tea.
Uh-huh.
Like simultaneously, internally, she's like, "You saved me from like committing a social faux pas," but also, "Bitch, I was right."
Uh,
Well, maybe not. We haven't found out yet, but she's
Yeah.
considered herself correct.
Yeah.
um, Cynza kind of smiles thinly. Well, be that as it may, I mean, Count Moncrief has quite the reputation for going into historical sites and respecting them as he excavates. That's well known.
Is there anyone or anything that would make you feel more comfortable in this?
If I may be so bold, Thistle, I do apologize. Lady Radia,
Yes.
Thistle and I are both experts in religion and the esoteric. Going into historical places and making sure they are treated with the utmost respect is part of why we are employed by Count Moncrief. While, yes, he does value these historical artifacts, he also values their sources as, and you could, this next part is very hard for her to say, and she's kind of side-eyeing because she doesn't know if she's doing this right, as Lady Ducan has seen on multiple occasions.
Are you saying that you are prepared to put these spirits or whatever they may be to rest on this island?
I'm prepared to do whatever your barony believes is the most respectful way to handle your lands.
And is that all the Count is prepared to give us to loan your services?
I cannot
I
speak for, that would be a question for Lady Ducan. I can only speak for my peers' abilities. And she's going to try to find a way to shut the fuck up. She's now very, she doesn't, she's, out of my depth, out of my depth, out of my depth, out of my depth.
Yeah, Cynza, meanwhile, is struggling to keep her eyebrows in check, because as Thistle and Morrow, the two people who explicitly were like, "Yeah, we just won't talk," start talking. Cynza's like,
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
But as the ball kind of gets passed, as the conch starts getting passed back to Cynza, she kind
Magic
of
punch.
she smiles warmly and honestly, that's kind of an excellent transition. I say this with gravity, let's say. Um, Count Emmerich Moncrief is prepared to offer a personal favor to you. This is not something that comes lightly, and it is to be discussed as you see fit. Would I know above table if when Emmerich is offering this favor, is this something that Radia would have to contact him about, or is this something that she could like push through us, like ask the favor of us and we need to complete it, or like did he explain how he intended this favor to go?
He didn't. He left it
Okay.
specifically open-ended.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then I think Cynza will let that statement hang in the air without further explanation and let Radia's mind kind of run with it.
Mr. Bloomberry,
Yes. Yes, Lady Radia.
do I look like the sort of person who is in need of a favor from Count Moncrief?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure. I feel like everybody could be in need of something. Perhaps it could be an adventuring quest of sort. It could also just be in the form of something you would ask a friend for. But either way, we are here.
I am a young noble, a young woman unfamiliar with the ways of politics. But it does seem to me that perhaps a favor could be a very valuable thing indeed. Very well. I will accept the Count's offer without condition. However, I do have a condition for the four of you. The well-being of
Visibly see the tips of her pointed ears move up just a little bit.
the well-being of Vesperholt has been the charge of my family since we were granted the land to rule 1,200 years ago. Whatever dangers you encounter on the island, ensure that they are confined there.
Cynza bows her head as respectfully as she can and meets Radia's eyes and said, My lady, I would do anything to show you that my words are true and that we are incredibly capable.
Well, then, if you will accompany me to the library, I can procure you a map and perhaps some field notes.
That would be more than generous.
All right. And that's where we will leave this episode. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, it's research time.
Above table, I think Thistle just fell in love.
Oh no, above table, like Morrow is sitting here about to piss herself. Like she's like, why the fuck did you start talking? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like it was she just wants to be right, but she's so out of her depth.
All right.
Me in
Let's
real
take
life.
10 and let you all compose yourselves.